Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Robin and I am a physical therapist and I specialize in working with dancers and performing artists. And today I'm here with a full foot strengthening class. So this class is great for anybody who wants stronger feet, a better line, but it's particularly useful for those of you that are in the stages of pre-pointe training, or if you've started point work but you still want to keep working on your foot strength, or really anybody if you're a circus performer or a gymnast or anybody that needs a better line, stronger, pointier feet. This class is going to be great for you. Now, so this class isn't really a complete beginner class. You do need to have a good understanding of proper alignment in your foot and ankle, how to point without sickling or winging, and you should be able to understand how to control your toes and feet muscles independently, at least a bit before you try this class. If you don't have at least basic understanding of how to control your feet, do head to some of my other videos where you can work on those elements first and then come back to this class. Otherwise, let's get started. So ideally for the class, you'd have an exercise band, a small ball of some sort, like a tennis ball, and if you have it, a yoga block or a Pilates ball, something like that. Now, if you don't have these things, don't worry. The class is still completely suitable. You can still work all of your feet muscles without this stuff, but better, particularly a band. If you don't have a band, I would highly recommend you get yourself one because there are just so many great ways that you can use TheraBands to improve your strength and your dancing. So let's get started. So we're going to start with our legs long. We're just going to start by warming up our feet. So pulling up your quad muscles, engaging your abs just to sit up nice and tall. And we're just going to start with some circles. So just warming up the muscles in your feet and your ankles. And the other way. A couple more times each way. Just get the blood flowing. Okay. And then just pointing and flexing through your feet. Again, warming up all the muscles. Okay, now we're going to take it into a more of an exercise here. So what I want you to do, flex your feet back as much as you can. Keep your toes pulled back as we do a half point, and then point your toes, and a half point, and flex. Keep going. Half point, and half, and flex. Make sure you're really working through all the range of your foot as you do this. Waking up all the muscles in your toes and your ankles. And half, and point, and half. 2 more times. Now, we're going to start with some half point, and half point. So you're really stretching through your ankles. Make sure that there's no sickling or winging going on, and just firing up all those toe muscles. Okay. All right, we're going to move on now to some foot doming. So foot doming. We're going to move on now to foot doming. So bring one foot flat. So foot doming is the one where you're lifting your arch. What you're going to do is leave the ball of your foot nice and flat on the floor, but you're going to pull the ball of your foot back towards your heel. So you're increasing the height of your arch. You should feel those arch muscles start to fire up. And relax. And again, draw the ball of your foot back. Keep your toes nice and long when you do this. It's only your arch muscle that's working. It shouldn't be a huge movement. And again, making sure you're keeping the whole ball of your foot in contact with the floor. And again. And last time on this foot. Okay, let's swap around to the other foot. So lifting your arch. Pressing the ball of your foot into the floor, elongating your toes, but lifting your arch. And again, lift. And lift. And last time on this foot. Then bring your feet in front of you, and we're going to do some toe swapping. So if you haven't done toe swapping before, again, check out some of my other videos. But toe swapping, for toe swapping, we're going to leave our little toes on the floor and work on just lifting your big toes. If you can't do this yet, don't panic, just keep practicing. Some people will find this very easy, some people find it very challenging to get the hang of. If you do find it challenging, just keep trying, and you'll find that one day, all of a sudden your big toe will just go on its own. So keep working at it if you can't do it. A few more times here. Then we're going to swap over, so pressing your big toe into the floor and just lifting your little toes. You should feel the muscles around the top and of your feet and the fronts of your ankles starting to fire up. Okay, so if you're struggling with that, just keep working on the big toes and then the little toes. If you're ready to move on, we're going to do full version of toe swapping, which is big toe, little toes, big toe, little toes. Keep going for 5 more times, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Good. If you found that very hard, again, don't panic, just keep practicing it. It's a really good way to develop this strength and control in your deep feet muscles, which are really important. Okay, so now we're going to do some toe spreading, which is just lifting up your toes and trying to spread them apart as much as you can, and then keep them spread as you lower them down and relax. So lifting your toes up, spreading them as wide as you can, and lowering down and relax. Again, this is another really good exercise to develop the control and the strength in all the little muscles that are inside your feet. And do that 3 more times here. Lift and spread, lower and relax. 1 more time. Good. Okay. Give your feet a little shake. We're going to stretch our legs long again, and we're going to start to really fire up now, working our feet a little bit harder. So sitting nice and tall, again, pulling up your quads muscles. Flex your feet as much as you can back, and then we're going to stretch your ankles. Again, as much extension and point through your ankle joints as you can get, but keep your toes pulled back. And then we're just going to point our toes. Now, really trying to point as much as you can without sickling or weaning or doing any toe crunching or funny. So elongating your toes, nice straight ankle, and we've got half point and half and point. Really working those feet muscles now. You should feel your feet start to hurt in your arch, burn, the muscles burning. 3 and 2 and 1. Now we're going to try some advanced toe swapping. So if you're still working on just normal toe swapping, that's fine. You can go back to practicing that. If you're ready to join me in advanced toe swapping, first we're going to just pull up your big toes. So keeping the ankles long and aligned nicely and the little toes pointed, just lifting and pointing your big toes. For 3 and 2 and 1. Now swapping over with the little toes, so little toes go up. Trying to keep your big toe elongated and pointed. 3 and 2 and 1. Now to the full version of toe swapping, we've got big toes and little toes. Big toes, little toes. This is a challenging exercise, so again, if you're struggling, don't panic, just keep practicing this exercise. This exercise particularly really good for developing the control and the strength you need for point work. But again, if you're struggling with foot flexibility, if your feet and ankle feel quite stiff, this is a really good way to develop the flexibility in your feet. Keep going. You should feel the muscles in your arch really working now. 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Give your feet a little rest and give your legs a little shake. Okay, we're going to grab our band now. So this one is really about just improving the strength in the muscles of your big toe. Now again, if you struggle with your foot flexibility, improving the strength in your big toe muscles can help. But if you're preparing for point work in particular, it is super important to have a really strong big toe muscle. Obviously, most of your body weight is being supported on your big toe when you're on point, and you need to have the strength to do that. So, you're going to wrap the band around your big toe. Try and stay flexed at the ankle. This is only your big toe that's pointing, so you're going to push into the band with your big toe. Don't worry if the little toes go as well. The main thing is that you're getting the resistance against the big toe. We're going to do 8 of those, so that's 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Good. Now we're going to swap it over and we're going to work on the muscles that extend the big toe. So same principle. Try and stay relaxed at your ankle. This is really just the big toe that's working, and resisting with the band and pushing up against with the big toe for 8, and 7, and 6. Make sure you don't pull so hard that you can't do it. Control how hard you pull with the band so that you can extend the big toe, but you feel like those muscles are really working. 3. A lot of people find this one quite challenging. Again, it's one that's really good just to practice. Last one. Good. We're going to do that on the other side. So swapping your feet over. Anchoring the band around your big toe. Enough resistance that it's hard. Staying relaxed at your ankle and pushing into the band with your big toe. For 8. And 7. And 6. And 5. 4. 3. 2, and 1. Good. Swapping the band around. We're going to do those muscles that extend the big toe. Staying relaxed at your ankle and pushing against the band with your big toe for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay, now we're going to move on to the muscles that work the side of our ankles. So these muscles obviously are super important to prevent you from sickling. They're also really important for preventing ankle sprains and again just improving your lines. So if you have a block or a Pilates ball or a small ball or a cushion of some sort, you can grab that now. If you don't have it, you just have to be a little bit more mindful of your alignment so that you keep your legs and your ankles in a good alignment. This just helps with the alignment. So you're going to put it between your knees. Now you want your kneecaps facing straight to the ceiling so you're in a really good parallel position. Just gentle pressure into the block. Again, that's just going to help with your alignment. So for this one, what you're going to do, you're going to wrap it around the band around the ball of your foot. Anchor it around the other ankle. Now, I'm starting this by sickling my feet a little bit just to make sure I get enough tension on the band. Pulling back with the band. Now, bring your ankles back into a neutral alignment. So you've got a nice, really straight line on the inside of your ankle. Pull back with the band, that's your resistance. Gentle pressure with your knees into the block or the ball just to keep, again, your ankles and your legs in good alignment, and you're going to push out against the band. So you're actually winging your ankle here. You should feel the muscles along here really firing up. So you're going to push and hold for a few seconds and relax. Really good, this one, if you're someone who gets told off for sickling your feet all the time. Again, really good as well if you're someone who is preparing for point work because you need the muscles at the side of your ankle to be super strong. Keep going. If you're not feeling the muscles on the side of your ankle, you can pull the band a little bit tighter, but don't pull the band so tight that you can't do it. And 2, and 1. Good. We're going to take this one step farther now. What you're going to do, point your feet. Again, make sure you're not sickling, and you're just going to push out against the band with your feet pointed. I'm actually going to flex that one foot to help me anchor the band, but keeping extended on that working ankle, and then just pushing against the band for 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. If you've done this properly, you should feel the side of your ankle really tired now. Good. All right, so we're going to swap over, doing the same thing on the other foot. Wrapping that foot around, anchoring it around the other foot. Let your feet sickle to start with so that you can get the tension, and then bring your feet and ankles into the good alignment, and then pushing out against the band with that working foot. So the only thing that moves is my ankle. That's why having the block or the ball is really good, because it stops you from rotating with your knees. So if you don't have a block or a ball between your knees, what can happen is you can actually start cheating and rotating from your hips. So you actually kind of turning out a little bit, which then is not going to work your ankle muscles properly. So if you don't have a block or a ball, it's absolutely fine, but just make sure the movement's coming from your ankle and not from your hip. I've lost count now completely. I'm not very good at counting sometimes, so we're just going to do a few more. Let's just do 2 more. Good. Taking this now to the next level. So leaving, I think it works better, leave this foot extended, but point through the ankle of the working foot, and then we're just going to push out against the band. For 7 and 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Good. We're going to carry on working the side of our ankle. So we're going to come back to the first foot, wrapping it around that ball of the foot, sickling a little bit to get the tension on the band, and bringing your feet into a good alignment. Okay, keeping that one foot flexed to anchor the band. Now, for this one, what you want to do is you want to keep your foot in a really perfect alignment, so you're not winging or sinkling, and we're just going to do half point and half and point, half point, half point. This one's really good at developing the control in those feet muscles when they're in that extended position. For 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Now flex your foot right back. You can take the block away for just a minute, because now we're going to just work on the muscles at the front of your ankle. So what you're going to do is pull the band back and extend. So pull it back, extend. You really want to push against the band when you come up. You will be working your front of your hips a little bit, but make sure you're resisting the band with your foot so that you're working the front of the ankle as well. 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Right, we're going to swap over to the other side. So putting that blocker ball back in if you have it. Prepping that foot. Nice straight line through the ankles, pointing your toes. Make sure there's no sickling or winging going on at all. And we have flex and point. 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 2 more just to really work those feet and ankle muscles. 9 and 10. Good. And you're moving into the front of your ankle, so setting the block to the side. Flex your foot back as much as you can, and then resist against the band for 8 and 7 and 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Just rest your ankle and feet for a minute. We're done with our blocks. You can set that off to the side. We're going to do another exercise now for the muscles in the arch of your foot. Again, really important if you're trying to improve your foot flexibility. This is also obviously really important if you're preparing for point work. So for this exercise, I have secured my TheraBand to my bar. You could also just use a table leg. Now, if you don't have a way to secure your band, you can do the traditional version of wrapping the band around the ball of your foot and pointing and flexing into the band. I'm sure most all of you have come across that before. This version changes the direction of force, so it does make the exercise a little more effective, but still do the old-fashioned version if you don't have a way to secure your band. But if you can, tie your TheraBand around the table leg or bar if you have one. Now what you're going to do, put the band around the ball of your foot and then rotate in your hip so you're in max turnout. Holding the turnout in your hip, you're going to extend through your ankle. So again, making sure there's no sickling or winging going on. And you're going to then point your toes into the band. You should feel your arch muscles really firing up. If you can't feel your arch muscles, pull your leg across to hold it in turnout, but pull the leg towards the center so that you've got more tension on the band. And then flex your foot. Or flex your toes just. Keep your ankle extended and then push into the band with your forefoot. Hold and then flex your toes and push into the band. Push and hold. Make sure you're still holding your turnout from your hip and extend and point. Obviously, if you are working towards point work, it's really important to be able to control your feet while holding your turnout at the same time. So a little bonus with this exercise. And point. We're going to do 2 more. Again, if you don't feel the muscles in the arch of your foot firing up, increase the tension on the band. Check to make sure that you're not winging or sickling with this exercise. Last time. We're going to do the same thing with the other foot. So I have swapped my band around to the other side of my bar so that you can still see me, but obviously you can turn yourself around. You know the exercise now. So bringing your leg across so you've got a lot of tension on the band, rotating from your hip as much turnout as you can get, and then extending through your ankle with really perfect alignment, no sickling or winging, and then pointing your toes, extending your toes long. Don't crunch or curl your toes either, but pushing into the band with your ball of your foot so you've got a lot of power in those arch muscles, and then flexing your toes. Keep extended at the ankle, but keep pushing into the band. And point. And relax. And 4, we're doing 8 of these. And extend, and point, and extend. 3 more. Push into the band. Keep checking all the time that your ankle is in perfect alignment, and keep checking that you're not crunching your toes. Keep your toes extending long. And again, if you don't feel the burn in the arch at this point, then you need to increase the tension on the band. Last one, really push into that band. And relax. Good. Give those feet a little shake. So we're going to come now into standing. So obviously it's really important that you've got the strength and control in your feet and ankles when you're weight bearing. Make sure for this bit that you've got something you can hold on to, a bar or the back of the chair or the end of a table, something like that. We're going to start with some foot doming and toe swapping in standing. So make sure you can do these in sitting first. If you can't quite master them in sitting yet, then go back to practicing those for a few minutes. If you've mastered toe swapping and foot doming in standing, then join me. It's quite hard to see. in the camera, but you should have the feeling in your feet anyway. So pressing the balls of your feet against the floor, elongating your toes. Then what you're going to do is just lift the arch, draw the ball of your foot towards the heel, tensing those arch muscles, lift and hold, and relax. We're going to do that 5 times, so 4 more times. So lifting your arch and hold and relax. Lift and hold and relax. Twice more. Lift your arch and hold and relax. And one more time. Lift, hold, and relax. We're now going to do this on one foot. So working up your balance as well. Coming onto one foot. So avoid the temptation to hold on for this one if you can. Try and do it in balancing. So drawing the arch up, drawing the ball of your foot towards your heel, and relax. It's quite challenging. So again, pulling your arch up, lifting up, and relax. And one more time, lifting your arch, keep pressing the ball of your foot into the floor, and relax. Good. Come to the other side. If you ended up wobbling all over the place, don't worry, this one takes practice. So drawing your arch up. Everybody's got one foot that's going to be better than the other. My balance isn't near as good on my left foot. Lifting and relax. And last time, lifting your arch and relax. Good. Now we're going to come to some toe swapping. So just come into a comfortable parallel position, extending your toes long. And we're going to start first by just lifting your big toes. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And the little toes for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then our faster toe swapping. Keep going with those single raises if you want. If you want to join me in the more advanced version, we have big toes, little toes for 8, and 7, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then let's practice some toe spreading. So lifting your toes, keeping your arch nice and controlled, lowering your toes, and relax. So lift your toes, spread them wide, lowering down, and relax. Twice more. Lift and spread and relax. Last time, lift your toes, spread them wide, and relax. Good. We're going to come now into calf raises, or rises. So these are really the gold standard for foot and ankle strength. If there's one thing you take away from this class, it's the ability to do lots of calf raises, both on 2 feet and on 1 foot, in parallel and in turn out. So to start with, if you've got a ball, grab it now. If you don't have a ball, absolutely fine. If you've got the ball, stick it between your ankles and then drawing your feet together. Now what you want to do is press against the ball, and this is just going to help keep your feet in a good alignment when you go up onto rises. If you don't have the ball, then just make sure you're going up without sickling or winging your feet. So we're going to do 8 of these. So that's number 2, and lower, and 3. Make sure you go all the way up onto your demi-point. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. So kicking the ball away, we're now going to come to single leg rises. So starting in parallel with these ones, you can face the bar if you want, just so you can see me better. I'm going to face side on. Keeping everything in a nice parallel line, you're going to rise up as high as you can and hold and lower. So single leg calf raises really are the gold standard for foot and ankle strength. When I'm working with students in pre-pointe, I insist that they can do a minimum of 16 single leg rises with perfect alignment in their ankles before I let them start point work. This tells me that you've got the strength and control and endurance to do so safely. But again, if you're here for this class just to improve the strength of your feet, improve your ankles, improve the line of your feet, you cannot go wrong with single leg rises. So we are going to do 16 of them now. If I've counted right, I'm up to number 8, so we're halfway there. 9, 10. Try to keep your hips level as well so that you're not wiggling or wobbling your hips. Try and keep going up as high as you can. I'm on number 14, I think. 15 and 16. Done properly. Your calf muscle should be on fire now. Coming on to the other foot. Same thing on the other foot. And up and lower. Keeping them slow and controlled. Our Achilles actually has a little bit of natural rebound in it, so if you do these too fast, it's basically cheating. You're using your Achilles to bound back up. So the slower it is, the more properly you can work those feet and ankle muscles. I'm on number 6, if I've counted correctly. 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Good. Just give your feet and ankle a little rest for a minute. We're going to repeat that in turnout. Little stretch if you want. Okay, so turning into turnout. Now this doesn't have to be your max turnout, but you want a nice, good, controlled, strong turnout. So make sure you're engaging those turnout muscles or those deep external rotators in your hip and pushing up onto your calf for 1. We're going to do 8 in turnout here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We're just going to hold at the top and little pulses with that heel for 8, 7, 6. So just coming off a full point onto a slightly lower point and then up, down, 2 and 1. Good. And lower. Again, with all of these, making sure you don't sickle or wing that foot. Keep straight through your ankle. On to the other foot. We have 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Little pulses at the top for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Your calf muscles should be on fire now. If you're really strong in your calf and your feet and your ankles, you can go back and repeat all of that. But we're going to move on now to some more ankle strength. So if you're wanting more work, don't worry. Come into a parallel position now. So this one's going to fire up your quad muscles, but it does really work on the control and the strength and all those deep little feet muscles, because that's obviously what this is. Come into a squat. Now I like to reach my arms forward just for counterbalance. You can put your arms wherever you want. But from here, you're going to, again, keeping a really nice alignment in your ankles, lift your heels and lower. We're going to do 8 and 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold at the top. See if you can sweep your arms behind you while you hold your heels nice and high. Sweeping them up. Try and keep your heels lifted. And back. And up. Good for 3, 2, 1, and come down. Good. One last little challenge here for your feet and your ankles. So this is also going to work your balance really hard, your quads and your hip muscles. But once your feet and ankle are already tired from everything we've done, this is like a last little push to really power up the strength. So this is called airplanes. What we're going to do, start in a parallel position. I'll face side on so you can see me. You're going to lift one foot up in front of you, bring your arms out into a second position or out to the side. You're going to hinge forward from your waist to make a nice straight line. From here, you're going to plie your front knee and stretch. 4, 2. Don't worry if you wobble all over the place. This one takes a lot of practice. And 5. Oops. And 6. And 7. And 8. And trying to come back up without touching down. If you manage that, well done. If not, you've got something to work on. We're going to come straight away on the other foot, lifting the other knee up, bringing your arms out to the side, hinging forward from your waist. And we have 1. And 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. And 8. And then trying to stand back up without touching that foot down. And rest there. Now it's really useful to finish any foot and ankle workout with a little bit of balance work. So just coming onto one foot, this doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you're going to balance here and close your eyes. So by closing your eyes, you're going to make your feet and your ankle work a lot harder. Don't worry if you wobble all over the place. If you've not done this before, it can feel really challenging, but you should feel all the muscles in your feet and ankle really firing up to keep you from falling over. Just going to hold for a few more seconds there. Good. And changing feet. So find your balance first. Can be helpful to gently pull in your tummy muscles. Make sure you're dropping your tailbone down. That can just help you a little bit, closing your eyes. And everybody will have one foot better than the other. I find balancing on my left foot a lot harder than my right foot. Good. And finishing there. So I always like to finish as well, which is a little bit of stretching. You've come across any of my stuff before, you'll know that I've said that despite starting ballet from a very young age, I was not blessed with flexible feet. I've had to work very hard at improving the strength and the flexibility in my feet. So just like most dance physios, I would 100% recommend against a foot stretcher. Foot stretchers aren't going to improve your flexibility in your feet particularly that well, but what they can do is leave you a very high risk of injury. So better to do some gentle stretching at the end of a strength training routine. So for this, again, making sure you're in a good alignment. Don't let your foot sickle or wing. Just bringing the top of your foot around behind your other foot. Just turn a little bit so you can see, and just gently stretching through the front of your ankle. You can just do a little demi-plie if you want to increase the stretch. This should be gentle. It should feel nice after working your feet and ankle. And stretching, it should feel like just a nice stretch. Again, making sure you're not winging. With this one, a lot of dancers are really tempted to collapse into the side of your ankle, so keep your ankle nice and straight. Just for a few more seconds here. Good. And swapping feet. So checking the alignment of your foot before you even start. And then just gently demi-plieing into the front of that ankle. Like I said before, it should feel like a nice stretch. It shouldn't be anything painful. You shouldn't be forcing. Should feel fairly gentle, but it should feel really nice. And last time. And just stretching your arch a little bit here. And just again, demi-plie, just to feel the stretch in the arch of your foot. Good. And changing feet. Push into your arch and just stretching over. If you do struggle with your foot flexibility or your ankle flexibility, the best thing you can do really is to keep working on the end range strength. So my number one exercise for people with stiff feet and ankles is that advanced toe swapping. So you can rewind the video back to where your ankles are extended long and you're just pointing and flexing your toes. That's a really good way to increase the flexibility of your feet and ankles if you're struggling with it. So we're going to finish now just by a little bit of stretching and massage for those feet. So if you've worked this class hard, then your feet and ankles should be very tired now. So we're just going to start with a little bit of self-massage through the arch of your foot. This can be really useful for helping to just improve the flexibility of your arch as well after you've worked on the strength. If you've got a massage ball or one of those feet rollers, you can do that as well. Nothing fancy here, just mobilizing the soft tissue. Grab hold of your foot, you can give it a little wiggle. Okay. Then we're going to just come into some gentle stretching here. So keeping your ankle nice and straight, again, don't let it wing, just pressing gently into the top of your foot and just feeling a stretch along the front of your ankle. Again, just gently encouraging the mobility in your ankle without yanking on the ligaments or destabilizing or crushing the joints in any way. Good. And sometimes I like to give it just a little wiggle at the end. That can just help again to find that good alignment and just feel like you can get a little bit more of a stretch. Good. We're going to swap around to the other side. So just a little bit of massage through that foot, or grab your roller or your massage ball if you've got one to hand. And then grabbing hold of your foot, just give it a little wiggle, working out all the kinks after all those exercises. And then finding a nice straight alignment at your ankle, just gently stretching, using your hand to help you stretch a little bit. Again, like I said several times already, no forcing or yanking, but just elongating at the front of the ankle. Give it a little wiggle, finding that perfect alignment again, just stretching through. And we're going to finish with a nice calf stretch. So you can stretch against the wall if you want, but I like coming into a downward position for stretching the calves. So just coming up into your down stretch position, lift your heels high and then elongate your heels towards the floor. You should feel a good long stretch along the backs of your calves. You can walk your ankles out here if you'd like, pedaling out your feet. This should feel really good after all of that calf work that we've done. And stretching. And lift your heels high one more time and elongate your heels down towards the floor. And we'll finish there. Well done for making it to the end of the class. If you've got any questions about any of the exercises, do leave a comment below and I'll try to get back to it. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this class, make sure you like and share and do subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with more great tips for improving your dancing and your flexibility.